Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are so proud to offer this series. We have funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and they are made available for viewing at a later time through YouTube channel. I'm Martha Brown, your host for today's activities, bringing you pretty patterns by way of Peggy Spear, through the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. And I seem to have brought my frog back again.
Really?
Peggy, we want to see some pretty patterns and it's all yours.
All right, let's get to it. All right, share. All right, y'all can see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to start with this. This picture, I must warn you, this picture does not do any justice to the beauty and size of this artwork. It just came down off view this Sunday, and it was up, I want to say, from September through Sunday. And it's an artist, Anila Aga, and this was one piece in an exhibition that was only about her artwork, but this was the only cube. The rest of it was mostly two-dimensional or artwork that was hanging on the wall. And it was entitled A Beautiful Despair. And she created this for the museum. We do not own it, but it was for the installation at the museum during the pandemic, during 2020 into early 2021 after the Capitol riot. So this is something that the title of Beautiful Despair speaks to some of the awful couple of years we've had, but the good things that have come out of the last couple of years.
Peggy, tell me that this is a whole room that's lit up.
Yes, so it's,
oh my goodness,
it's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, I'm going to show you a little video of how we installed it, but everything I'm showing you on the screen does not do justice to the actual space. So when you walk in, I don't think I have the actual dimensions of the cube, but it's a steel laser cube that is suspended from the ceiling. And there are two light bulbs inside of it. And this is the first installation she's ever done with two light bulbs. So it creates a sort of effect like you're underwater, which was a very deliberate choice she made. And you can kind of see that effect, the shadow within the shadow, like right here is a really good example of where that double shadow exists. Wait, I just want to make sure I can see all y'all faces. Okay, so this was some of the, there's so many things to say about this. I almost don't even know where to begin. So the reason she wanted this double effect of almost like being underwater is because she's very aware of environmental changes that are happening, of global warming. And one of the things that was really interesting to her was that during the pandemic, when we were all in lockdown, the early months of the pandemic, if we allow ourselves to remember that, the pollution rates were just dropping throughout the world.
yeah.
And so that was one of those a beautiful despair type of moments where and the bee population was replenishing. So there were terrible things happening to people and family in the world, but there were good things that were coming from it, like this reduction in pollution, this repopulation of bees. So it was like that silver lining. It was what she was really interested in. And so, during this time, a lot of things were coming to light or coming into conversation with global warming, and the US pulled out of the G7 and all of these things. So she was making a political statement, but a very beautiful and overt or covert statement. She deliberately selected the yellow, sorry, there's an angry baby.
Okay.
She deliberately selected the yellow walls to represent the sun, this cube itself. While we see the blue on the inside, it was also painted blue on the outside too. That was representing water. And there's a third wall in that space, which we can't see here, that was painted red to represent earth dirt, that mentality.
Ooh.
So a very beautiful nod to the world. She is Pakistani American. She is now a naturalized citizen, but she immigrated to, I want to say, is she Pakistani? Yeah, she immigrated to the United States right before 9/11. And so a lot of her artwork deals with the struggles and these realities that she was living with, not only as an immigrant, but as an immigrant from Pakistan and as a woman. So she's, again, we're not seeing that with these beautiful patterns because she wanted to create sort of a mystical, transcendent experience that anybody can enjoy her art regardless of her background or their background, but there are nods to things that make her her. So some of these patterns that we're seeing are Middle Eastern, are Islamic, are African. You can't quite see the detail on the cube, but you can see what these details are on the wall. So these are things that you would see in mosques, things like that, that are just beautiful, symmetrical, balanced patterns. And she was really interested in creating beauty. So when she moved to the United States, she went to UNT for art.
Yay.
And she kind of bucked the system, and it was, you don't need to make art. Like, art for beauty's sake wasn't the trend. And so she didn't care. She wanted to make art for, she has a lot of meanings to it, but just beautiful art that anybody can enjoy, and you don't need to come with it with certain lens. It's just beautiful and enjoyable. And so she's working with steel, which she wanted to kind of work with a masculine material, but not in the way you typically would see it. So steel is typically used for architecture. Steel is typically associated with masculinity, with male energy and structure. And do you feel like this is a masculine energy coming from this?
No. It seems kind of neutral to me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what she wanted. But it's, when you're up with it, it's such delicate detailing that it's something you might see in like a doily or lace. I mean, you're typically seeing these softer materials, and it's not that at all. So there's this, again, this beauty and strength in something that's not always associated with that. She was also really interested in thinking about things global, or environmentally. Steel could be melted down. So she knew if this was a total whiff and no one liked it, this is something that would stand the test of time in terms of how long it would stay. But if it no longer served its purpose, it could be melted down and function in a different way, and it wouldn't be like plastic or she said she thought about using wood, but then wood does decay over time, and so she ended up landing with on steel and using laser cutters to create the minutia detail.
So how big are the panels?
I don't have the exact dimensions, which is my own. I'm going to show you a video with people so you can see. But my toddler son went running up to it, and his hands and head were about level with the bottom bar.
Okay.
And just pushed that bad boy and
oh no.
But it's steel, so we okay. But my stomach dropped.
Oh, did he learn something from that? No, he's a boy. No,
he is a bull in a china shop. He learned nothing. But we learned that cube is just as strong as we thought it was.
I have a question. There's something below it looks like on the floor. It looks like some sort of characters.
It's all, so the grid itself is the same exact out copy of it on every single side, top, bottom, and all around. So there's what you're seeing on the wall, you're seeing on the ceiling, you're seeing on the floor. It's all the same exact thing. There's no message or words and all
Okay.
this. It's all just organic
Okay.
shape.
Is the only light source in the room from the cube?
On this particular side of the gallery, yes, it's just two
Okay,
light bulbs
okay.
that are inside. And then on the other side of the wall, she, because she did grow up in Pakistan, she is a wonderful embroiderer and stitch and everything, because those women's circles, stitching circles, were basically the only creative outlet women were really given in her day. And so the pieces on the other side are on vellum, on different papers, and she's using beading and beautiful gold embroidery thread and things like that. So, and we're seeing a lot of the same patterns on the other side, but this is a very large lit sculpture, which the other ones are not that, but it's a nod to that patterning that was often sewn time and again.
Okay.
It's pretty.
It's
Reminds
beautiful.
me of the Taj Mahal.
A little bit, yeah.
She was looking at mosques, South and Central Asia and Middle East, Africa, these dichotomies that we see in that male, female, light, dark, life and death. All of these are perfectly balanced, and that's what she wanted. So a lot of those themes and shapes that you see in all of those religions or architecture are appearing in this artwork.
Beautiful.
So I'm
To
gonna
me, it's
show
as if
you. Oh, go ahead, Yetta.
no, it's as if it's a mirror, you know, on the walls and the ceiling and so on, and the box just reflects into those mirrors.
It's yeah, and it's
that
really
makes
cool.
sense.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. And that's deliberate. She wanted the experience of looking at the cube to be a different experience than looking at the walls. So it's meant to play off each other like a mirror would, but be two very different experiences of the same artwork. And when you walk in that space, you become part of the artwork, that those shadows are cast all over you. And
Wow.
I mean, it's so immersive, and we've had nothing like this in the museum before. And this is the first museum where Anila Aga was exhibited as an American artist, not as a Pakistani American artist.
Oh,
So this was a very big deal for her, and she was kind of emotional in the galleries when this came to fruition, because she was being recognized now as an American, and typically she's exhibited in Asian art museums or galleries.
Where does she live?
I'm sorry?
Where does she live? Do you know?
I think she's in New York now. She's not in Texas anymore. Yes.
So you're taking this down.
Mhm.
Are you storing it there, or are she getting it back?
No, she'll get it back. We did not acquire this artwork.
Okay.
This was just commissioned for an installation, but we
Right.
did not acquire the artwork.
Okay.
So I will show you, if it doesn't work on this video, I'm gonna have to quickly switch screens, but
We'll be gentle.
thank you. All right, we should be able, there's music, but it's just kind of filler music. There's no words to this, but it's just watching the installation process, which is really interesting.
Oh, look how big it is.
Wow, they work fast.
Oh, it is big.
Yeah,
Huge. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Can
You
you?
know, I say those pounds are at least five foot per
Yeah.
side.
Steve and Greg, the two guys on the left and the right, are about 6 feet, maybe not quite. So yeah.
Is there any way you could put this on Facebook? I would love to share this with friends.
I can send you the link. I think it is on our museum Facebook page, but I can send you the Vimeo link.
I'm fascinated.
Yeah, it was pretty cool watching this.
Wow.
Wow.
That is pretty when you see it like that.
Mhm.
I want one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's put it in our living room, Myra.
Just a little thing for the window.
Don,
that
just go out and
like-
make
Yeah,
one,
right.
Don. Yeah. Just make one, Don.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
Get you a laser,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all computerized. It's usually probably with the plasma cutter.
Really?
Yeah.
These are these.
Both.
We had one at the school I was in, and they could do all sorts of things with them.
Wow, that is cool looking.
Yeah, that was
That's
very
amazing.
beautiful. Very beautiful, very intricate.
It takes my breath away.
It doesn't look like steel. I mean,
No.
No,
No,
no, it's not.
Just looks
It's
like
not real thick
linen.
steel.
that's nice.
Wow, so the
Beautiful.
walls and the floor, Peggy, is that just light in different colors or
no, it's just, sorry, I'm trying to get us out of this slide. It's all light. It's all.
just light? So the box is the only thing?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so she was really excited about the effect the 2 light bulbs had because she'd never done that before. So that was pretty cool to
Yeah, very
see that.
much.
And you do feel you do feel totally submerged when you're in that space, kind of like you are underwater. It's got that feeling, and the slightest wiggle, I mean, it doesn't really move and it's not intended to move, but it can move. And so you feel almost like that ooh feeling when it does get to going, kind of like you are on a boat or underwater. It's pretty cool. Amazing. I hate that exhibition ended so soon because it was stunning. All of her work, amazing. So yeah, I will send you, Martha, the Vimeo link,
Thank you.
but it should be on the Amon Carter Facebook page as well. You might have to just scroll down quite a bit.
Okay.
All right, so now we're totally switching gears and we are moving to this is a photograph of something that becomes a fabric pattern. So we'll start with a photograph before I move to the fabric. What do you see?
Matches.
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 Matches and boxes.
Looks like they're burned. They're used matches because they're black.
I can't tell. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like the actual whatever makes them ignite or if he did.
But they could be
might-
brown. It's the brown, what do you call that? Stuff at
Sepia.
the end.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sepia.
Since it's
Okay.
not, this is not color, it could be, they could still be not burned.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You don't see any burn down the matchstick at all. So there probably is just.
My
Okay.
hunch is that it's just
Thank you.
the regular match as it is.
Mhm.
Edward Steichen was a well-known photographer in his day, particularly for fashion, New York.
I'm gonna let you-
based. And-
Okay, here's Mark. Here's Mark.
Hi,
Hi,
baby.
sweetheart.
Hey.
Hi, sweet boy.
Oh, hello, precious. He looks just like you.
Thank you. Hey, Mark.
He's a little smaller.
A little smaller.
Yeah, his beard's still growing
He's
in.
growing. He's getting there.
Oh, sweet. Thank you for sharing him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. Last time you saw him, he was just little bitty.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's almost 5 months.
Oh,
All
wow.
right.
Mhm.
A spit
Almost
up
5
baby.
months.
Oh, sweet boy.
You say
So,
hi.
so this photograph was taken, part of there was a campaign that, okay, let me back up. Edward Steichen was on a cruise, on a ship, not a cruise, ship to Europe. And on that ship ride over, he happened to meet with the art director of Steely Silk. And they hit it off. And the art director was on his way to Switzerland, where the corporate headquarters were for this silk company. And so they got to talking, and they ended up, the art director was putting together an Americana campaign of patterns that really reflected the American spirit at the time. And so Steichen ended up being one of those artists that was brought on for the project. He was the only photographer brought on. And Steichen was really trying to push and successfully pushing artwork to that as its own art form. It's not merely documentation, it's art in its own right, and it wanted to be elevated to the same clout as, you know, painting or sculpture.
Who was
So-
he married to? Who was he
I could-
married to?
That's Alfred Stieglitz,
Oh, okay.
who is also a
Thank you.
massive photographer, and they're working at the same time, and they knew each other. So they were all kind of running in the same clique, but that's Stieglitz.
Thank you. Thank you. That's where my brain went, was to Stieglitz.
Well, very similar names, working at the same time, both photographers. Common mistake.
It looks very much like a pattern that could be on a cloth.
Yes.
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 So that's exactly what ended up happening. He took a number of photographs using kind of products of the machine, and so, or mass consumed objects. So some of the things included sugar cubes, mothballs, carpet tacks. He was able to create these patterns using very popular and common things that the mass, you know, the consumer was very familiar with. So here is where he created this pattern using matches and matchbooks and then dramatic lighting. So he took a couple of photographs and he arranged them on a seamless background. So, you know, you can't really tell what it's on. It's just all very monotone. And then he used the lighting to create a semi-abstract pattern, but as you guys did, you were able to identify what it was. So it was really speaking to this Americana theme. This is what the
Bye, folks. I've got to go.
Bye.
See you
Hey,
next
bye.
week. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Tomorrow.
This
Oh my
is
goodness.
what one of the patterns, and it ended up being printed in different colors, but here's an example of what one of the fabric silks ended up looking like.
It looks like flowers.
It
Isn't
does.
beautiful? It does look like flowers. You're right.
Oh, creative.
Yeah,
Okay, so could we go back to the first one, please?
sure. Mhm.
I noticed that these matchboxes look kind of weird because the one down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see looks some label on it, but the others look like they're covered up.
Yeah, and you know, I haven't been able to find anything specific to that. Because in the pattern, the name brand doesn't transfer. So I think part of it too, if he did cover these up, like it looked like he might have glued or wrapped paper around it.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel like he's almost censoring in a way to kind of like blocking out any sort of copyright infringement type of situation. That might have been what was happening. But
Okay.
it also
Okay.
might have been too, just to kind of neutralize the pattern as well.
Mhm.
I mean, it would have been a little complicated if we had seen the letters and the little decals
Mhm.
here.
Yes.
This is
beautiful.
pretty. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
I
is
agree, yeah.
wonderful.
It's very cool. And so they sold these fabrics, the MoMA has samples of all of these fabrics that were created with the
Oh.
Steely Americana series. And so there are different color combinations. There are different patterns that he and other artists that were popular at the time created. So, but these were made for domestic use and dress manufacture. So it was very high end. And then at the time, and I don't know if anything about the corporation now, but at the time, Steely Silk was like the gold bar for what luxury silk and manufacturing looked like. And there's was a mill in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That was the American mill, one of the American mills producing these fabrics.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is a really cool pattern. I did not realize how late in the morning it was, so I'm sorry. I've got a couple more if y'all have time.
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
Mhm, yes.
So this is
Oh,
totally different, like,
Wow.
yeah, get your sunnies out because this is a bright one. This is a Frank Stella. Have any of you heard of the artist Frank Stella before?
No.
no.
He was the cat's pajamas in the 60s with AbX. He was really working with lines, and he was very interested in the formal composition, formal elements of color, line, and composition. And he was hoping to tell stories through basically lines. Not, like once there was a man type of story, but creating a type of flow as, that you would see in a story, but using just shapes and color, lines and colors.
Yeah.
And so,
I like the way they're offset. I mean, it gives a real 3D look.
yeah, and that was part of it too. He wanted to create knowing it's 2D, he wanted to create this dynamic, almost like it's coming out at you like a 3D, but it is as flat can be.
Okay, so I think I got confused about this a couple of weeks ago, but screen print is like what they make T-shirts.
Exactly.
On T-shirts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're just dragging color.
It's not a copy of a computer screen. Okay.
No. This was all. These are. He was working a lot with house paints early on canvas. Like what you would paint your home with. But then he was doing some prints, some silk screening, things like that. And then he's worked to a massive scale. There was actually a Frank Stella exhibition with his larger murals, probably like 3 or 4 years ago at the Fort Worth Modern. But he was starting smaller and then started he was progressing, he started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So this silk screen is one of his smaller compositions compared to what he ends up working with. And Frank Stella's I remember a few years ago, I was in New York and my best friend lives in the financial district, and we just happened to be walking by one of the massive buildings down there, and they had the atrium in their building had a massive 20-foot long, longer than that, Frank Stella just taking over the entire lobby. So his artwork was very well received, very colorful, very bright. Some of his artworks you might even recognize. He started in the beginning monochrome and then going just all black with tiny white lines, almost looking like the pinstripe of a suit. It was very, very, not simple. It's a very sophisticated design, but very radical for just using paint and just painting lines. And the world loved it. So his striped system of patterning was very well received by the world.
We like it, don't we?
Oh, yes.
Cool.
Reminds
It's a fun
me.
artist to give it a Google. If you Google Frank Stella, his work is just so fun, and it's just something beautiful to look at.
So how long, do you know how long he was an artist, or if he's still an artist? Or?
No, I don't, he's not living anymore, I don't believe.
Okay.
I don't know when he passed, but yeah, he created artwork for a very long time. Spanned decades. And was very, very vocal or very influential in the ABX movement.
Abstract and X meaning?
Abstract expressionism. So those are your Jackson Pollocks, your Mark Rothkos, that era of painting.
Thank you.
Sorry, art history. Okay, we got one more by an artist, Larry Poons. He was working during the same time as Frank. These were made in the same year. So this is still kind of under that abstract expressionism movement. And I read one art historian referred to these as dots and jelly beans. We've got an
I was
onlooker.
going to say
See
rice.
that?
Rice.
Yeah, it looks
grain.
like rice.
It does.
And it kind of looks to me when I first looked at it before I did anything, almost like a version of Morse code, like he was combining this.
Oh.
But there's no message. That was me assigning meaning to something that didn't exist. But he was really into music. So you can see that influence of, maybe some of the shorter and the, hi, baby.
Oh boy, show us your little, hello.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Can you say hi, Tom? And we've got the other one. He saw a trash truck.
Oh. Thanks, Mom. That's the best art you've ever shown us, Peggy.
Yeah.
I like to think I created some nice pieces of art. Yeah, so he was really inspired by music. Can you see the truck? Yeah, there's a construction happening next door. This will be in it for the next couple of weeks. All right, baby, mommy's working. Come on. Let me find where I am. And so he did go to music school for a while. He was not a trained artist at first. And so a lot of his artwork at this stage in his career, he ended up shifting to longer lines of color. But at this stage in his career, he was very music minded. And you can kind of see that through his artworks.
Beautiful.
Yeah, do you like this one or is this too busy?
No, I don't like it.
Yet is not an abstract gal.
No,
No.
I'm not.
I'm neutral on this one.
Neutral. Do you
I
guys
think
like this
so.
one?
I
I
don't.
like it better.
It's too busy for my eyes.
Mine too. This one is, yeah,
Yeah, it vibrates almost.
it hurts.
What about this one though? Yetta, do you like this
I
one?
love that one.
Okay.
That's cool looking.
That reminds me of a dandelion.
Of a
Yes.
painting?
Yeah, it does.
Dandelion. I want to blow.
Oh, yeah. It's very sophisticated. I mean, you can see that in a woman's scarf or, you know, a beautiful
Mhm.
full skirt. You can see the appeal, the designer appeal to it, I feel.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to picture this, somebody wearing this as a dress. Didn't you say that they made clothes out of this one?
Yeah, this was for fashion and for domestic. So things like maybe curtains or
Oh, okay,
pillows, that kind of thing.
okay. Well, that's better than a dress.
Oh, I could see it in a dress.
Me
In a
too.
fancy evening dress or something like that.
Something with
A short one,
soft.
not a one. Yeah.
Yeah.
with folds in it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
And I couldn't find the other color combinations, but I'm very curious on what the other color combinations were. Just because this is such a cool print, I'd want it in like every shade. So, okay, those are our patterns. They're all very different, but fun and different, or fun and unique nonetheless. So next week we are back here. What am I doing? Stop
Oh,
sharing. Okay. Next week we are back with movement. So we're going to be looking at different artworks that either the artist was using very gestural movements when creating, or the artwork itself actually moves. So
So
movement
say it again. What was the first thing you said? What?
maybe
Gestural.
Gestural. Okay.
gestural, yeah. So we will be back next week. I hope you all stay safe and Omicron free, and we'll talk
Peggy?
then.
Peggy,
Yes.
Thank you,
before
Peggy.
before you go away, have you talked with Gail about being present for our new programs in the afternoon?
She is, we're meeting at 11:30, so I
Great.
assume
Great.
she will be talking about that. So I don't.
Hey,
we'll know
great.
soon.
Yay. Have a good week.
All right, thanks. You guys too. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Isn't she something? Oh, I hope we get her for the other programs too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okie dokie. Are we seeing light purple here? Oh,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
Steve's gone. Okay. Tomorrow, Nia moving to Heal with Emily Corbin. So we get to shake up our neurons tomorrow. And we do have Fifth Street Cafe. Are we all hanging around?
Yeah.
Sure, sure. Okay, let me stop the recording so we
We'll
can.
hang.
What's that?
Yeah, we'll hang
You'll hang, okay.
around.